Okay.
But Facebook Live is going to be there in a moment. Give me a minute. That didn't go through. Oh yeah, okay. I'm not an admin in We Are All Okay group. So Daniela did it last time. Are you an admin in that group? Okay, you're shaking your head, so I'm assuming it's a yes.
I forgot. Yeah, I am.
You are. Okay, I'm gonna make you host then.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Bear with us, everyone. We are just intending to broadcast this onto Facebook so that people can watch this.
Can you guys hear my birds?
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay.
Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So welcome to the addiction webinar. And this is called Understanding Addiction from the Inside Out, a holistic approach. So who wants to go first?
You can just go on and we will join you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
So when I'm looking at this topic, understanding addiction from the inside out, the first thing which comes to my mind is how it's seen in the world to how we see it. How it's seen in the world is it's seen as a problem. It's seen as a taboo, something which people are kind of cursed for life. In the Muslim community, in our world of Islam, we don't even get to talk about it because it's considered to be, in a way, un-Islamic, sinful. So, and I can go on and on and on. But when we start seeing it from the inside out perspective, what does that even mean from the inside out? Which means the psychology of addiction, the spiritual side of addiction, then everything kind of starts to make sense. That behavior of being addicted to something, a substance, person, food, internet, whatever, begins to make sense. So this requires us to understand how our experience of life works. So when we understand that experience of life does not come from circumstances, we don't experience life based on a circumstance. We experience the way we are thinking about our circumstance, the thoughts we are having in the moment gives us an experience of that situation, that person, what has happened in the past, etc., and what is happening right now. So it is, you're always feeling our thoughts in the moment, which gives us an experience. Now, there are times when unknowingly, innocently, we start feeling, I need that to be okay, whatever that is. That can be money, that can be substance, that can be chocolate, that can be sexual desire, pornography, you name it. It can be anything outside of you. When we think, I need that to feel okay, to feel safe, to feel complete. And this is happening in the background. This is subconscious, and many people don't even notice it. So innocently, they keep going for more of that, whatever that is, more of having that pills, having that sexual desire, being in an abusive relationship, thinking, I need to be in that. I need to have that to be okay. And obviously, because our experience comes from thoughts in the moment, whatever we can have, whatever we want to have, let's say chocolate for that matter, substance for that matter, it never gives us that fulfilling experience. It never completes us. It's not possible. So it's a temporary relief, but every time we go more of it, the desire to the craving increases. Let me put it that way. The craving increases. So obviously now I want more of that, okay, to be okay. And none of that is true when we understand that's not how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made psychologically how we experience life. He didn't make it like that. He didn't make us dependent on anything outside of us. That's the beauty of seeing how psychologically life works, how spiritually life works. He never made us dependent on anything but him. We are only dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing else. So this understanding, firstly, for me, opened up a whole new world of, first of all, being human, that I can fall for an illusion that I need something. I can fall for that illusion. It's very normal, and that's being human. There is no escape of that. That's the first thing which actually gave me relief. it because we can't escape being a human being. So to me, that was a big relief when I really understood that I am a human being, that I can have those moments of feeling not okay, that I need this or I need that type of thing. So when I'm not running away from that, when I'm running towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does that even mean? I really don't know if I can explain that. Okay, but I'll give it a shot, and then I'm going to let my dear sisters in the room to explain that, perhaps, inshallah. The only way I know now is our fitra state, our innate, our true self is always in connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but for our personal thinking. and the misunderstandings, what I've been thinking as to be true, like I need this or that type of thing. So to me, it's actually a love letter that if of realizing addiction is not a bad news, it's actually a good news that Allah is giving us an opportunity to relook at everything. That's how I see it now. It's a blessing in disguise. It's a gift wrapped up in a way which doesn't look fancy. B, I know which way to go now, which is towards Allah. So I'm going to pause here.
That was so beautiful. Yes, subhanAllah, what I was thinking while you were talking as well is that that illusion as well, that, you know, and you said it while I was thinking as well, that we need something to be okay. And that's when people, you know, tend to turn around and use things basically as well because they don't want to feel their feelings. And there's a fear of, you know, I'm not okay, or I can't sit with these feelings because it's so uncomfortable, or I don't know how to cope. And then that's how they turn into these things, just sort of as you know, it's an illusion that they're gonna feel better. And then, you know, obviously they might, depending on what they're using, they might get caught up on that. And what we found as well in when they start understanding how we function psychologically is that sometimes it's just very easy for them to get out of it. And like you said, you just turn around and walk towards Allah instead. Yes, subhanAllah. I thought that was beautiful. I don't know, Sister Anam, if you want to share something.
Today, I would like to share a story of two plants, one with a fungus and one without a fungus in it. And the one
Sister Nam, can you come a little closer to your mic? There is a little echo in the background.
Okay, just give me a moment. I'm coming back.
Okay. A little closer to your mic will be better. Yeah.
Just give me a moment. You can carry on. I'm coming.
If anyone has any questions, you can just pop them in the chat, inshallah, or any comments.
Yes. Feel free to comment, like, share whatever you're hearing, which is resonating, or which is raising a question, you don't agree, or you have a question, that's why you're here. Whatever you're curious about, put it in the chat here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
How are you? How is everybody, Sister? I'm Bibi Jan from Singapore. Alhamdulillah, thank you. Just like to share, I think many of us, including myself, sometimes we feel a bit trapped psychologically sometimes. So this is where a little awareness on what are the things that can have, sometimes we have our own life limiting belief, and this psychological trap can happen in many ways. Sometimes we think that we are of certain age, of certain ability, of certain background, we can't move beyond certain level. So I think sometimes we listen to our own self-talk, negative self-talk. I think in Islam, we know that we are actually we have highest level of tawakkul. I just share with you one surah that I learned, Surah Al-Ghafir, verses 44. I just take something that I use for my daily life now. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa ufawwidu amri. wa min and ufawwidu amri ilallah. I submit myself in totality. Wa ufawwidu amri ilallah. Innallah, indeed, truly, verily, Allahu basirun bil ibad. Allah, Allah oversee every single servant of His, every single ibad. We are all the slave of Allah. So sometimes I think that this life limiting belief that sometimes we think we are trapped. I mean, I'm not talking about other aspect of trap. You know, people feel that they can't move. You know, I mean, they are like LGBT. We have Muslim women, because I'm a psychotherapist, so I do come across a Muslim who believe that I'm a woman trapped in a man body, or likewise, or I'm trapped because my parents are in abject poverty, so I can't move, or I have some criminal record, I can't move on, or I have I'm diagnosed clinically with some mental illnesses. So sometimes we have this kind of things that could affect our belief, our perception, our tasawwur, our worldview. And I think we are unconsciously trapped in our own thought that we are not aware. Wallahu alam.
SubhanAllah, that's so beautifully said, Sister Bibichan. Jazakallah khairan for sharing that. That is absolutely true. We are all can only be trapped in our own thoughts. There is nothing else we can ever be trapped in. That is the good news. Yeah. That is the only thing we need to know. And that is the only thing, like Harry, our teacher, yeah, and our addiction mentor would say, that will free you up when you understand that, when we really, really understand, because the world of thought is not real. Yeah, but it will look real. It feels real. Absolutely. That suffering is real. Okay? There's no doubt about that. Okay? It is absolutely terrifying. That experience can be very, very terrifying when I believe that to be true. But the only thing, that's why this requires an understanding, which means it's like, for example, if I didn't have an eyesight and suddenly I have an eyesight, I need to start learning everything from scratch. It's like that. This understanding is unlearning what we have learned intellectually, the ideas and concepts which is in our head, the beliefs, like the beautiful examples you gave, okay? And to understand how we are actually made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the divine design, as I call it. Sister Anna.
SubhanAllah. That's amazing. That's amazing. SubhanAllah. And the story I was intended to share it with you all. It was around the two plants, one with the fungus and the other one without the fungus. And the one with the fungus, he was asking from another one, how you're blooming, how you're growing, how could your fragrance is spreading around the world, how you're doing it. And the one without a fungus, he was like, when I was born, I was without a fungus. I was born on my own nature. I was born absolutely fine, without any stuff that came from outside. That fungus is not a hurdle. The people that are throwing something from outside, that's not a problem. The fungus is not inside. When I would go inside myself and see on my roots and the stem, there is no fungus in there. Something came from outside. But I'm not going to allow that fungus to stop me. That fungus doesn't have that power. I'm not going to give that power to that fungus to take a decision of my life. I'm not going to allow that fungus to do whatever that fungus wants to do. I will believe in my own self. I will believe in Allah who created me. Allah created me for some purpose. There was a reason behind that. If I would allow that fungus to control me, only then he will be in the power. Only then the fungus will be in the power. Fungus itself doesn't have that power. The one with the fungus, he was like, okay, I can't grow. I can't do anything because of this fungus. I can do anything. Now, what I can do, I want to live like that as well. I want to live that life as the way you are living your life. All the other ones around you, they are just blooming because of the fragrance that is coming from your flowers. And the one without the fungus, he was like, hey, little one, just go inside. Just go inside and see where you are. Not in your head. Just go inside your own roots, your own fitra. Allah, who created you. Without him, you are nothing. You have the power. You have the power not to give anybody that control that you want to have on your own life. You are in charge. Just spend the time with yourself. You don't need any medicines. You don't need anything from outside. You don't need anything from outside because you are perfect. You are born as a perfect being. Why? Because Allah created you. We are imperfectly perfect. You have a word. You are full. You are the whole being. You have a power. You are beautiful. You don't need anything from outside, little one. And then the one with the fungus, he went into a deep silence. And the one without the fungus, he was like, it is good to take a time for yourself. It is good to go within your own self. It is good to go inside yourself and discover who you are and why you're here. Just go inside, take a time for yourself. Just a few moments after, he took a deep breath in, the one with the fungus on it, and he realized, he was like, oh, that fungus is not a hurdle for me. I can do that. I can live with it. And I can live my own life by taking decisions for myself. Yes, I acknowledge that I can't do anything without the help of a law. I will need a help. But that is the connection of my own self with the law. That is the very deep inside. I'm not going to depend on anybody outside because the one with all the authorities, with all the control, I will ask him directly. Yes, the fungus came in and it will go out. It will go out. And the one with without the fungus, he was like, okay, how you can deal with it? How you're going to do with all this fungus on you? And he was like, well, I don't have to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. I am the way I am. I will just take a bit of a time and a pause to acknowledge who I am. I'm not the little one. I'm the big one. I'm the whole. I don't need anything from outside. I am a whole being. And after some time, the day came when the one with the fungus, he started a living life without the fungus on it. And the fragrance, the flowers started blooming. And the fragrance started spreading out. And the other ones within that community, around that, they started getting benefit from it as well. Because that is the power of within. That is the power from the inside out. That is the power that is belong to Allah only.
Beautiful.
Is there, yeah?
Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Feel free to share as you're hearing whatever which is connecting, feel free to put it in the comment and come off mute and ask a question. Okay. We're going to have some time also, but I'm just telling you, you're very welcome to put your question in the chat. Yeah. The one thing which came up for me as I was listening to you, Sister Anam, is there is, I think this is from Surah Baqarah. Okay. This I have heard before, but it always comes back to me more now than ever before from a context of addiction, which is perhaps you dislike something which is good for you and like something which is bad for you. Allah knows and you don't know. To me, so we are talking about a holistic approach. Yeah, we're not talking about a band-aid approach in the Back to the Fitra addiction department. Okay, we're talking about how can we, this example of what Sister Bibi Jan was talking about, surrender. Okay, and Sister Anam's story was again about surrender. Yeah, surrendering to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. Okay, so to me, this is what I have seen. And we keep using this word. I use this word a lot, which is addiction is a love letter. What does that really mean? Today, I want to share a little about that. To me, it looks like whoever is struggling with something, okay, some form of addiction, it is not that behavior, but it's a wake-up call from Allah to see their life, because more often people are running away from something about their life. They're not ready to see. Okay? It looks like that part is not okay. Okay? That is not okay. That past is not okay. That experience is not okay. That what happened there is not okay. Okay? So this, when we say a holistic approach, it's about not running away from the discomfort, like what Sister Romy was talking about, not running away from not being okay. We are not going to be okay at some point of time, and it's absolutely all right not being okay. When we understand we are always okay, however, that has no reflection on who we are. There is this resilience which comes for us to see life the way it has been, it is, rather than stories in our head. For example, the narrative changes of what has happened. What was traumatic doesn't look traumatic anymore. It becomes part of the healing process. Okay. And I'm saying this with my personal experience, with working with few people, and even with myself. Okay. There has been parts of my life I have been running away from. It's too terrifying to see it for years. I didn't even know it. Okay. So this holistic approach, what we are talking about, is an insight model, which means when the intellect slows down, when our mind slows down, our wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we have access to 24/7, we get to hear what we get to hear. We get to see what we get to see. We wake up to what we need to see in our life, what we need to embrace in our life. So that's why I call it, it's a love letter from Allah.
SubhanAllah. I was just thinking about I've been going through a journey of losing weight, which could be seen as, addiction to food in some way. And SubhanAllah, all addictions in some level are harmful, or at the same time, we can overcome them and all that. So I was being able to sort of see what foods would trigger me in certain ways and all that, and how that has an effect on me making the decision of what I'm going to eat and what I'm not going to eat. and I see also in depending on what mood I'm in, you know, I'll reach to certain things and other things, kind of like. And when I'm not, and how I will believe that if I have that food, for example, something sweet and all that, and at that time it completely, I will completely see it as I really need this, and it ties up with what you were saying at the beginning as well. That, you know, at that time I feel that I really need this to feel better, or I really need this to, you know, to stop the craving that I'm getting, or all this. And how when we see it from a different point of view, or when we realize that could be stopped, or we could make a better choice slowly. And this gives hope, you know, for people in whatever addiction they are, or whatever they are taking, and whatever harm is doing to their body. That when we realize these things, it gives a bit more space, so it opens up that space to make better choices. And it all depends on what state of mind you're in as well. So sometimes it's as simple as just lifting that person, and that is having such a negative thinking about themselves, or negative beliefs about themselves, and reminding them that, you know, like you said, we are okay, and Allah created us in certain way, and things that will lift them up, you know, that will help them to stay in a to think better about themselves, or to realize, okay, yeah, I made a mistake or whatever, but it doesn't mean that there's not hope, and that I need to stay stuck in here, you know, something like that. SubhanAllah. So I just wanted to share that. And there's a question as well that maybe we could go over. And
I love how you said that, Romy, because as everyone was talking, I was thinking, you know, the holistic approach is when we see it just as an imbalance of thoughts, and we don't have to get caught up in the why or anything like that, or the doing, but just realize, you know, that, oh, my thoughts are, you know, imbalanced. And that makes us go down to that, you know, when we lift our level of consciousness, or raise our level of consciousness, those imbalance of thoughts naturally levels up. And so we come back to our picture state, which is what we all want, you know, and that's for anything, you know, whatever anyone's addicted to, you know, it doesn't matter. It could be food, it could be our thoughts, it could be, you know, whatever it is. Alhamdulillah, you know, and I think that's the holistic approach. When we make it easy, you know, it's not a heavy, it is a heavy topic, but it doesn't have to be heavy, you know. Once we realize that and bring that lightness in, and that's what we need to focus on, is that lightness, rather than the heaviness, you know, because it can be quite heavy, it can be depressing if we talk about this, you know, but it doesn't have to be. And that's where the healing comes from, is from that lightness, that we're human.
And for the person, it does feel very heavy when they are in very negative state. But if we could just, you know, help them lift up and get out of that a little bit, or you know, their mood to change a little bit into a better mood, into a higher state of consciousness, how we call it. Sometimes that's all it takes for them, just to be able to stick to that decision if they are, for example, sober, or and that lift on that consciousness when they're going down again, it will just help them to stay into, you know, and make keep making those decisions that they're making that are good for them at the moment. And when they don't as well, you know, same thing, we just lift them up and we help them, and and just give them that hope and that light. It's like sort of, in a metaphorical way, you know, it's kind of like.
Yeah, it's great. Alhamdulillah. You know, I think it's a very exactly what you said. Alhamdulillah. Pointing them back to the truth. You know, sometimes we see it, we lose sight of that ourselves, you know, and how good is it for us, you know, to be able to just point to, you know, ourselves, like, you know, with that support, back to the truth, back to Allah. That's just not what we're seeing in that moment, in that moment of time. We're not putting Allah in the picture. SubhanAllah.
I'm just looking at Sister Safia's question. The only thing I'm going to say, Sister Safia, which is going to be game changer if you want to help this relative. The first thing is not judge them. Which means like even things like, it can come from a place of love, by the way. Like, oh my goodness, I don't want them to do this. If this happens, or what's going to happen to them, to our family, etc., etc. You know, that whole trail of thinking for them, labeling, assuming, okay, getting carried away with our own, whatever our mind, the meaning our mind is attaching to what's going on for them. So the first loving invitation I have for you is just know that that person has Allah's guidance in the moment, right this moment, with this addiction, whatever this addiction is. And they can snap out of that any moment. Any moment. It's just one thought away. Okay? They can snap out of that any moment for lifetime. But all they require is a loving, non-judgmental environment. Most people, they're not ready to talk about it because they feel judged. They feel there is a lot of guilt. Most people have guilt. There's shame. Okay? So obviously it feels right to just bury themselves with whatever they're doing and not even talk about it. And most of the time it's denial. So I'm not surprised that there's no openness. There is lying happening. There's even harm happening. And none of this is, these are all coping mechanisms. They are doing their best, okay? What they know to do with the amount of thinking they are having. Yeah, they're just struggling through all that misunderstandings they're having. Okay, what they think they need to be okay. It's not personal. Okay, they're not bad people. It's not personal. Just want you to know that. So the first thing is to be non-judgmental, to make dua and to come clean and see that person as whole, because that person is still in their fitrah state, a beautiful creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Allah still sees them and all of us as a beautiful creation. Allah, we are the one who judges, like meaning like our mind judges and we go with that judgments. Okay. So if you're able to do that, subhanAllah, that will be a great step. And the second step would be to bring them to the department. Okay. You can accompany, we can have a conversation and see what happens, inshallah. Okay, it's a non-judgmental environment. Okay? So I hope that's helpful, Sister Safia. Okay, to comment or feel free to unmute as well. Okay, if there is something more you would like to know. Any other thoughts or questions? We're going to wait for Sister Safia to respond. Any other thoughts, questions, or maybe we can.
Can you hear me?
Salam. Yes.
Thank you, brother. Jazakallah khair for responding to that. I don't think that actually is going to help in reality, because this is a relative who there's a lot of expectations on what they should do within the family, and I think in that kind of situation, it's impossible just to kind of let them off the hook and just allow them to be as they are without any judgment. I don't see in reality, I mean, how I can be that way. This is a relative who's been already for for rehabilitation for a long period of time, and that hasn't helped. And is, you know, that we're living in a Muslim country, and I constantly give them reminders to go to the masjid to pray, and to get near to Allah to help them with their issues, but it just doesn't seem to help. I'm really at a loss what to do constructively. I don't know if you can give me any other advice. I just came here just to figure out how to deal with this relative of mine, because it's really challenging.
Jazakallah khairan for actually bringing this up, Sophia. You're not just talking for yourself, you're actually talking for many people. So, and the one thing which I think Sister Anna mentioned this yesterday, and I remember one of my current ustads, I'm doing a course, and he is a teacher of fiqh. Fiqh means jurisprudence, okay? So he teaches what's right and what's not right, okay, from an Islamic perspective, okay? And it's very interesting. He's a young sheikh, okay? So he's very modern at the same time, meaning modern with his thinking, like he's very techie, but at the same time, he's got this beautiful perspective, subhanAllah. One of the things which is what in fact Sister Anna mentioned yesterday to me, it was subhanAllah, before we correct anyone, the first thing is connection. Yeah, without connection, change cannot happen. Okay, they need a safe space to first connect with someone. Okay, because we don't know what's in their heart. Only Allah knows. We are no one to judge. Okay, so whatever this pressure, this expectations, it's valid. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's valid. It's not even. I'm not even saying they're off the hook. No, it's the connection is going to bring them closer rather than going away. Okay? The more we are expecting an outcome, because Allah knows best what is the outcome for this person. We don't know. We don't even know what's going on in their heart. Okay? So we are assuming as human beings, we think things should be different. Only Allah knows that, okay, how it should be. And whatever it is right now, that itself is the perfect design of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I know it's not very easy to see that, okay? But the only thing I know, Sister Safia, okay, I'm going to wait for others to also respond. Connection is the key. And connection can only come when I am ready to listen and see what's going on for them. And they're not doing this wantedly, by the way, okay? Nobody wants to be addicted to something. Yeah, it is just, they are suffering, by the way. I want you to know, okay, this person is suffering inside. It may not look that way outside, okay? Yeah, they're suffering psychologically, and they're missing something big time spiritually, okay? So I'm not even sure if these words are helping right now. Okay, do tell me if any of this is helping.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Connection is the key. It's just the issue is the consistency. So, you know, if I will make a step to get closer, to do what I can to be understanding and supportive, and then there's like a blip, then that's also upsetting to me and hurtful to me. And then there's only so many times you can keep putting yourself out there and being supportive, because you need that as well. Do you see what I mean? So it's like the other person needs help, but you also need help. And it seems like in my case, I don't have that. And I just find it very unfair.
Yes. That's why when we say holistic approach, Sister Safia, okay, add back to the fitra, okay, we not just support the one who is addicted, also the one who is, let's call them the helper, okay? We also support them because they need support too, like you rightly said.
SubhanAllah, yeah. Exactly. That's what I was hearing as well, that you probably to be able to reach that state where you can be of help, you really need to have that support for yourself. And everything that we said today, you know, it applies to you as well as a person, because once you realize that how your thinking is affecting the way of either your patients, or like you said, you know, I can't, how many times am I going to do it? And sometimes it will take time over and over and over and over. So if you have that support, you'll be able to, if you want, you know, to be that person that is going to have that patience, so it's going to wait over and over and over, because we don't know how many times it's going to happen until they get freed of this, you know, and they reach their well-being as well. SubhanAllah. And I think a lot of things that brother that I wanted to say, brother Dusty said as well, but there was something else I wanted to, but I'll share it when it comes to me.
The other thing I heard too, Sister Safia, is that, you know, and maybe I'm not hearing right, I'm not sure, but you know, the behavior that he's showing or they're showing is just a symptom. You know, it's not the actual person. So when we can see beyond that, we see the actual person, who they are, who they were created to be, the beautiful soul that they are. And when we can see that, we meet them in the middle. And so we're not looking at the behavior, but we look, or the symptoms that they're showing, but the actual person. And as absolutely Romy and Mudassar said, having that, you know, that support network, you know, through us perhaps, where we can support you in that is, well, I mean, that's key, because like they've said, you know, that is part of the process as well. Alhamdulillah.
There's a hand up, Sister Hadiza. Okay, we are almost time, but maybe we'll take your question. Go for it, Sister. Assalamu alaikum.
I'm sorry, probably wouldn't have enough time, but I will try and ask it in a very brief way. Firstly, Jazakallah khairan for I joined in and out, so I heard some parts. So I'm again apologizing if you've covered this part. It's something that Sister Daniela said about it's sort of shifting, you know, that need to get the balance using for me is sugar. So using something sweet to sort of just numb the discomfort or of whatever challenges, you know. Basically, I'm feeling very overwhelmed, and I know that a lot of people don't say that sugar is a addictive substance, but I'm very, very sure in my case that I definitely use it like the way people use cigarettes. But what really baffles me is that I have the awareness, you know, but it's almost like a what the hell effect, you know? Like, you know, I have that fear of, well, you know, of obesity or Alzheimer's or arthritis, you know. I know all the harmful effects, but I'm still taking it because it's almost like I want to run away from the numerous responsibilities that I have to sort out. And I know that there's probably no short answer to this, but honestly, it's like the overwhelm is real. So I know when Sister Nathaniel was saying that it's a thought away, a shift away, you pause, you slow down, and then you'll go into your higher level of thinking. I don't know. By the time I've sort of stuffed myself with the sugar, there isn't any higher level of thinking that's coming. There's just a lot of, why did you do that for? You know, and definitely the what the hell effect. You know, I've already done it now, and I might as well just do it again. You know, just take some more. And there's that. I don't want to use the word hopelessness because alhamdulillah, we are Muslims. We have so much to be grateful for. But there's that maybe helplessness. You know, there's
It's a
that like
feeling.
so
Yeah.
much too much to do, you know, there's so much to do. Where do I start? At least when I have sugar, I feel better, you know. So sorry, it's a very long question. So it's okay if you can't answer it.
Did you want me to answer it or anybody to answer it?
Go for it, Sister Daniela.
Yeah.
You're off the mic first, Romy. Go ahead.
I had it on my head when the sister was talking, but then you go for it because I think you might have it, and then I'll add if.
I'm not necessarily sure I have it. If anyone else wants to jump in, jump in.
Okay. So the only thing which is on my mind right now is what I heard, Hadiza, is compassion for self. That overwhelm is the love letter from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That if that misunderstanding that I need to escape that with that sugar, that's the thinking that if that feeling goes away, I'm going to be better and I can handle things. That's the misunderstanding there. To me, that overwhelm just is a love letter to slow down and be with it without that sugar, for the sake of Allah, not for any other sake. Okay? I'm going to read this quote from Viktor Frankl. Okay? Pain is only bearable if we know it will end, not if we deny it exists. So most of the time, people who are with this misunderstanding, there is a state of denial, like I don't want to acknowledge it exists. I want to escape it. I want to run away from it. I want to numb it. But none of that helps. It only adds to the problem. Like that guilt. Like I love the way you said it. Like, I know what the problem is. I know what the solution is, but it's still happening. So we can't escape that feeling. When that feeling is honored, it's okay to feel overwhelmed and be with it. That by itself would be a gift to see what you need to see in that moment.
I think that aligns with what I was going to say, that, yeah, at that moment, you're just not seeing it. And that reminder of, yeah, I'm not seeing it right now. And then I make a choice. I either just go for it and then thinking that I'm going to feel better, but I know that I'm going to feel really bad after, because it does not make me feel better. Or I just make the choice, okay, maybe I should sit with this a little bit. And like you said, it's going to end. Any pain, any suffering, it ends. Any feeling, if you sit with it, it'll pass. SubhanAllah.
Yeah. Let me just read a quote out that I wrote today, actually. Well, something that I didn't really write it out today, but let me just find it first. Sorry. Oh, where is it? Sorry, it's in what do you call it, slides, so just bear with me. What I'm hearing though as well, you know, apart from what everyone else has said, is of course I'm going to find it. You know, the expectation that because you know it here, that you're actually going to follow through with, you know, that intellectual knowing, understanding, forgetting that the thought is coming, you know, the thoughts, you're feeling your thoughts. And it's really, you know, it comes back down to that, is that you're feeling your thoughts. You don't have to, you know, you have a choice whether to eat or whatever it is that you know, you choose to, or whether you go, okay, I know this, I'm just going to feel it and let that feeling flow through me and be okay with that. You know, there's a choice there. There's always a pause. And so it's knowing what to do in that pause, whether to reach for that thing or whether to go, yeah, I've got some thinking going on. Let it just flow on past. And it might take some time. But also if you choose to, you know, have a chocolate, you know, you don't have to beat yourself up about it. So it comes back down to that compassion, having that self-love for yourself, you know. Okay, I probably shouldn't have done that, but is it the end of the world? Probably not.
Yeah, you can let it go. If you did it, oops, it happened, you know, and that's it, you can let it go, because if you hold on to it so hard, then you're going to feel really, really bad and you're going to stay there for longer. SubhanAllah.
Exactly. And I can't find the quote. I can't find the slide with the quote on
You can share in the group later.
it.
Alhamdulillah.
How does that fit now, though, Sister Lisa?
SubhanAllah, it sits really well. And when you were trying to find your quote, what I could hear was pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. That was the quote that was coming to my head. And so it was all what you guys said. I
Myself.
forget, you know, SubhanAllah, I forget that it's going to end. I think it's like what Brother Moses was saying. It almost feels like it's not going to end. It feels horrible. I feel very overwhelmed. And this is just going to be everywhere, and I'm rubbish, and I can't plan, and I can't, you know. So it's just proper low level thinking plus chocolate and everything else. So, but where I think that acknowledgement that actually this is not gonna, you know, it is going to end, and also the future is with Allah, and it's not my job to. It's all Allah, you know. It's I just do what I can, and self-compassion, and just do what I can, and just I think it's that expectations are very high, and a lot of alhamdulillah. I like that there's a choice, so I have to choose to believe that the discomfort will end, the uncertainty will end, and adding whatever sugar to it is not going to make it end any sooner. So just
You might be prolong it by adding the sugar.
It reminded me actually of, you know, when you got when something bad happens, right, and you've got a lemon, or like you've got a lemon in your hand. You can either choose to, you know, go, oh, I'm not eating that, or make lemonade. You know, as you were saying that, you know, something about chocolate, I thought, well, it can be just, you know, gooey chocolate, or you can make it into like a milkshake. You know, something. You know, this is just my thoughts, my creative mind. You know, going, well, you know, see the positive out of it or whatever. So yeah, anyway.
Alhamdulillah.
Beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, just go on.
Sister, I wanted to tell you, maybe if you want to end up the Facebook Live, and then I just wanted to check in with Sister Sophia before we leave, inshallah.
Sure, let me just stop sharing. There we go.
Alhamdulillah. Sister Sophia, if you just want to hop in again, and you know, we just want to check in with you, see where you are, and any thoughts about what we discussed.
I like the last thing that was said about pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. I really like that. That resonates with me. Just the issue that I have is overcoming the resentment towards this relative who's, you know, having addiction issues. So I need to work on that, and I just feel like whatever attempts I try, like everything is, there's like a pushback, you know. So I know everything happens with the will of Allah, and that, you know, obviously praying and making a lot of dua is helpful, but some people, like, they're more active in getting the help, and people aren't, and in my case, I don't have it easy.
I think having that certainty, you know, that inshallah one day this is going to change. It's like the same thing, the suffering is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
Including in your du'as, you know, when you're making those du'as with the certainty that, yeah, this is going to change, and Allah is going to, you know, end it at some point. That could help. Sorry, that just came to me. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to discuss right now, but yeah.
You know, I need to know, like, at what point do I say I've tried enough is enough, you know, because you just get to the point of burnout, you know, so there's just so much to consider.
Yeah, definitely taking care of yourself is one of the biggest things for you to be able to navigate it.
Take it as a,
it's gonna be enough when Allah says it's enough, you know, and you'll know the same way, you know, like, you know, you'll know, and especially if you keep yourself your well-being in mind as well, and that will help you. So Sister Anam wanted to share something as well. Just like,
Yeah, I just want to say that when our loved one is suffering, or we would say that they're in some kind of addiction, it's really important for ourselves to just seek out help for ourselves first of all. And if the group coaching is not working from you, that would be better to take a sessions one-on-one. And like Daniela will share the link soon, inshallah, you can just go on and like you can take a help in that way as well. I experienced it firsthand, and I'm very well aware of that, subhanAllah. So I guess inshallah that would be helpful for you. Inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Yeah, please, if there's any group that I can be added to, I don't know if you have WhatsApp group or if it's on Facebook only, please do add me.
There's a form that you can fill out, sis, so I've put the link.
Okay.
Whether you fill it out, if you get your relative as well to fill it out as well. The other thing that I wanted to just share with you is to not, to separate yourself, not separate like physically. Obviously, you can do that. I think, that's, I don't know your situation, but separating the problem with you, like not meshing everything together. And I know it's very hard especially with loved ones, but how can I explain this?
Like detaching yourself.
Yeah, it's like detaching yourself from the situation. Like you're still in it, but you're detached from it. So, you're not meshing all the different stories in the one, and so it becomes like a soup. It's just like you're seeing it from an outside perspective, from like a bird's eye view. And that helps us to then not be drawn into and have these expectations, but rather than go, okay, yeah, and just having an objective view rather than the subjective. I think that's the right way around, is it? Subjective, objective. Not sure. It's a bit like, when we're separating ourselves from it, and let's just say looking at it from a bird's eye view,
Yeah.
we're not getting caught in the story. I think that's very important as well, because then we can keep going, yeah, what is it that I have to do right now? Do I have to, be in this moment, or do I have to zip my lips and walk away? It's just having that awareness of yourself. I think it's objective when you're looking out, at the...
Yeah, it's objective. Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
You got that. That's the whole point, Sister Safia.
Yeah.
No. You heard what you need to hear, whatever Sister Daniela was sharing, okay? Self-compassion, sis. Self-compassion, okay? All I'm hearing everybody saying and what you're saying is, it's less about your relative, it's more about you right now, for you to bring your compassion for yourself. Because the more I learn to serve myself, the more I am able to serve others. That's the design of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that humbles me all the time. Okay, so feel free to reach out. There is this inner circle sessions happening. You're part of the inner circle. That's what I understand. That's why you're here. Okay. So feel free to jump into inner circle sessions. Feel free to join the addiction department sessions. Okay. Yeah. Inshallah, at some point of time, you will know how to really support your relative. Yeah. Okay. We are way off time. So good place to pause, huh?
Alhamdulillah. What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear because I cut you off.
You're telling me, sis?
Yeah, you said something I didn't hear because I was talking.
No. I was just saying, I think it's a good place to pause for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So jazakallah khairan everyone for showing up here with just your presence. Okay. And these sessions happen every month, so feel free to take advantage of these sessions and spread the word for us, because this is meant to be serving someone who is suffering and even someone who is supporting the one who is suffering. Okay. This is a very different approach in globally itself, which is changing the world one conversation at a time. I want you to know that. Inshallah, when you get to understand this, you will know what a blessing it is to even learn about this understanding. Okay, so feel free to join, learn more, okay, by joining the inner circle sessions. But addiction is not the problem. I want you to know addiction is not the problem. It is the symptom. Okay, there's something beyond that. It needs to be understood. So keep coming back, inshallah. May Allah accept from us. May Allah forgive in case we've said something just displeasing to him. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Jazakallah khair.